Good afternoon, everyone. I've updated prayer gathering sort of image to be suitable for summer and no longer winter. And we still have our tree of life there, and it's bearing gold fruit. And as I was reflecting on what to speak about, and what we should do together for this Wednesday, a phrase came to me. I don't know where I read it. Did I come up with it on my own? I believe I read it somewhere many years ago. And the phrase is fragrance. Fragrance, like perfume. You smell perfume. The smell of it is called a fragrance. And the phrase is fragrance of being. And in the context is to experience the fragrance of being. Of living. Of experiencing. And as I thought of it, I realized that it actually was very much in keeping with what I've been discussing or touching on for, what is it, the last 2 Wednesdays, I believe, was touching inwards to that inner space, to an open space. We do a lot of practices to clear ourselves, get ourselves out of the way. Our judgments that may block us, thoughts and emotions that are like fog or static, electrical storms that keep us from touching into that open space, both within us and, interestingly enough, outside of us. Even with all the hustle and bustle of our lives, coming and going, the highs, the goodbyes, the laughter, the anger, it's all held in a very open space. We bring the compression to it, the intensity. By how we act, react to it, our internal posture, how we hold ourselves energetically within ourselves, very much determines on how we navigate, but also how much we get caught up in or feel the claustrophobia, the intensity. And I get caught up in it too. But there's a way of being where one can take a step back energetically. We learn to cultivate a stillness, touching in with the Shekhinah, with the purity within. We learn to live more and more from that still internal temple or cathedral or mishkan. we learn to look within and be able to touch into that stillness. Yes? And from that place, we can experience the world outside of us in a way that's more open. And we can experience the fragrance of being, the fragrance of existing, fragrance of breathing and being alive. There we go. Might be better for people whose language is English is not the first language. The fragrance of being alive. And being is B-E-I-N-G. The fragrance of living. In that openness, we can begin to truly see, truly smell, and truly hear. Because the clutter, the waves subside, go down. In a way, the internal space we've cultivated becomes our external space. We project so much outwards as it's that, it's this, therefore it makes me this way. It's a little disempowering and also not quite correct. It gives up a lot of our power. That no, it doesn't have to make us feel this way. It doesn't have to close us down. Our thoughts and emotions don't have to occupy us, that we can't see a purple flower or a butterfly go by or the chirping of birds or seeing the wind ruffle through some tall grass or feel its freshness against our skin, or hear it rush up and rustle the leaves. That's part of the fragrance of being alive. And it is actually deeply religious in a way, because we can experience how incredibly beautiful it is. It's a beautiful fragrance, a beautiful smell, a beautiful experience. There's a certain magic to it, an awe, a mystery. You get to see it where you could miss it. Especially for me in nature, one can really experience God in the natural world. It's an open temple. It's an open prayer of place of worship. Somebody once asked me many years ago, where do I pray? And I said, at the beach, I have my most powerful prayers. They looked at me like I was on crack. And I said, no, it's true. I can let go and be present and be and connect in a very, very deep way. By not necessarily being around people, but giving me that rest, that reflection, to have that deep prayer from the heart, that deep touching in with the Shekhinah, and be in wonder of the waves, of the sand, and relax into being really content and happy. Now, I'm a beach person, it's not for everyone, but also the mountains, the hills. And that's not to say that you can't have the same experience in the complete crazy that is New York City. You can. But there's something in the simplicity during the summer. We travel a lot. We go on vacation, we go hiking, we go on family picnics. And what I wanted to share, or to, mention, point out, that those can also be or become an opportunity to touch in with God. It's not something, let us say it, it's an opportunity to also touch in with deeper parts of ourselves and realize that when we're in that God's creation, or simply at the park and seeing our kids laugh and play a football or go down a slide and enjoying some good food and enjoying our partner if you have one, or friends. We touch into the beauty that's alive. We see the joy in God's creation. And in that contentment, in that beauty, in that moment is found God. And in that closeness is a profound prayer. Just by experiencing and connecting with that fragrance, that experimental moment. The spiritual path, in many ways, is a posture. It's a position of one's consciousness and mind and how we perceive things. What can be most ordinary can be the most extraordinary. One thing that could simply be running through a field can be an experience of God. It's very much how we perceive things, and having a subtle, more sensitive awareness and experience of things. One can really touch into the majesty of creation, the majesty of happy children, the majesty of the wind just blowing through a hillside. And in feeling that awe, that inspiration in our hearts, the beauty that touches us deeply, we experience a part of God. We may pray, we may do mantras, we may read texts, we may sit in sacred places, do all the religious things, go to services, but it's also found in the everyday life. And so as we go out exploring this summer, bring your practice with you. bring God with you on those celebrations, those hikes, the trip to Paris. Experience it through the eyes of someone who wishes to catch glimpses and experience the majesty of creation, the Shekhinah that's in everything we see, touch, and smell. And let it flow and guide us in that experience. In a way, the spiritual path is to live in that way 24/7. In a way, we can become centered. That we become and sit on like a Merkava chariot, where the source of all lives in our heart and lives in our experiences. And we're connected profoundly in our lives. And we know we can never ever be truly alone, because we are never ever alone. So today, for our practice, so that's my sort of recommendation or suggestion to something to investigate this summer. It's May, it's moving forward into the times of vacation. So incorporate it. So today, depending where you are, it could be your room, your prayer space, if you have an outdoor area. If you're at work and you could take 10, 15 minutes off and there's a little green place outside or somewhere, or off your patio or just in your room, turn off the phone, take a walk. Try to relax the mind. If you need to, you use your practice, a couple words of Shekhinah, Shalom, or whatever brings you and calms your mind through your practice. Whatever it is, breathing exercises, mindfulness exercises, whatever works for you. Right? In one way, we do the mantra practice, so we have these techniques that can make it happen. Shekhinah Shalom, Shekinah Shalom. Right? Or whatever name works for you for that. And let it, and then that's not necessarily the practice. It's to bring your mind into that state of calm where the thoughts and the energies calm down. And then look around you. And be in that experience. Be in that presence where you could just stop for a moment, relax, and just be, be. And smell the fragrance of where you are in that moment. In that moment, wherever you are, is the Shekhinah, the living embodiment of God. Here, everywhere. And by slowing down, we begin to resonate, to feel it, to relate to it. Secondarily, it gives us a break from our day. So after 10, 15, 20 minutes of this, you get up feeling refreshed. You engage with your day in a different way. You've taken that reset. But you kind of look at things with new eyes. Our senses kind of are reset and we engage differently. And if we contemplate later, not at the moment, you have to experience what that state is like, then you think about it, but why couldn't I have that state before? If I liked it, why can't I try to make my life more like this? At least for myself, I feel I'm living from my home space, from my ground zero, and not from something that's being tossed left and right that doesn't feel as living, because it's all sort of a blur of getting through the day, but it's a sort of pulling back. It's also a very deep grounding, because we become more aware. And therefore our minds can begin to see things exactly how they are. And there's great wisdom. We start living more from a balanced place. The siffarots line up, our mind lightens up, our prayer lines up. And the difference between an aligned heart and emotions living with the Shekhinah and where we are typically living, the difference starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller, and we become more and more a manifestation of what we would like to become. And God no longer is something out there or for someone else or for people back then, but not today, but suddenly becomes something that we can experience and live with. We become those people. We didn't think it was possible, but oh my gosh, it's happening. We learn to smell the fragrance. We start in nature, purer places, and then we begin with time to be able to smell it everywhere. Even in the confusion and the intensity and the anger and everything, because we realize the fragrance is always there. We've just learned to anchor ourselves so we're not as caught up, so we could always hear the voice of God in our ear, in our hearts. We feel the way we view things is pure through eyes that see better, with a heart that feels more love and understanding. And the way we live our walk, live our life, live our talk, is very respectful and proper, and something which, when we look back, we can be very proud of and not have regrets. So, let's take about 15 minutes. Don't make it busy, but just sit and be. Find a spot, or just look around your room, or just look at the wall, and just take a breath, and let's just be. Rest in ourselves. Rest in God. Is a saying, wherever we are, so is God. God's always with us. And my prayer is that all of us may experience Him. So, 15 minutes or so, my friends. Okay. we continue to deepen our experience of God. Amen. Thank you very much for being with me this afternoon, and I look forward to being with you all on Sunday.